Before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that I'm recreating the previous um, recording of this fanfiction. So here we go. The Royal Addiction Spread by Zigeli. Pets underneath the moon. The sound of hooves impacting a thick, overly expensive rug echoed across the hallway of Canterlot Castle. The maker of this sound was no other than the goddess of the moon, night and dreams, the dark blue alicorn Princess Luna. Her gaze was cast down as she was in deep thoughts, even though she could only see the expensive rug underneath her. She knew exactly where she was walking. She knew the castle like the back of her hoof, after all. The reason for the distraction in her mind was the event that happened this morning. She was about to get a light snack before heading back to bed when she overheard the conversation going on around the corner from her bedroom. Oh my god, did you hear? That the new human thing has been visiting Princess Celestia at least 3 times this week? A maid asked in a hushed whisper. Luna's ears perked up at this. She had heard that her sister had been acting a bit strange those past couple of weeks, but she didn't spot anything out of the ordinary on the few occasions that they meet. Though that could be due to her and her sister only meeting a few times a day just before one of them headed to bed. What do you think they're doing in there? A sudden shocked gasp sounded from one of the noisy maid. Could it be? She said that she left the sentence unfinished, but her question was obvious. No way. The underlying tone of a shock escaped from another maid. Princess Luna shook her head. She had better things to do than listen to the vapid gossip of a few maids. Her stomach rumbled, reminding her of why she left her chambers. The trip towards the dining room didn't take long. Just as she was nearing the huge double doors that lead to the room that would satiate her hunger, her ears swiveled in the direction of the two others, castle staff talking. Did you hear? The sound of a shuffling hoofs came from around the corner. Luna didn't see the ponies who spoke, but her keen hearing could easily pick up what they were saying. Hear what? A hushed voice responded. If Luna had to guess, it was yet another pair of maids gossiping. Luna was about to shrug them off and be on her way, but her ears perked up at what the other maid said, and it was interesting indeed. Silverguard said that Princess Celestia has been getting. She lowered her voice, but this didn't stop the Princess of the Night from hearing her. Screeches and pets from the human? A deep gasp sounded from the other maid, and her co-worker shushed her. Luna's brow furrowed a bit. What were these screeches and pets? And how does that correlate to the human? She pushed them off. She pushed those thoughts away for now and opened the door from in front of her. 2 guards stood inside the room, their backs to the door. They didn't move at all when the dark blue alicorn passed by them. The room inside was huge. It could fit 100 ponies inside in a case. With ease. With ease. But today only 4 occupied the space. 2 royal guards, Princess Luna and her sister, Princess Celestia. Princess Celestia was eating what looked like a simple homemade made plate of pancakes. That's the small smile that often she that's the small smile that she often wore seemed to be a bit wider today. Good morning, Luna. Did you have a pleasant night? She asked between forks full of pancakes. Luna sat down opposite to Celestia on the long table. A plate of pancake rested on her usual spot. A whipped cream smiley face that was topped with berries sat atop the pancake stack. Yes, I did. It was quite pleasant. To an outside observer that might have thought that the lunar goddess wasn't tired at all, but to the trained eye, one might see that the faintest of bugs under her eyes. One attentive being seemed to notice said bug, and seemingly long. Celestia's brow slightly raised in a questioning manner. Luna looked at her sister from the corner of her eye, not fully looking away from her plate of food. A slight sigh escaped her lips. Yes, there's been a lot of dream that needed my attention recently. A fork and knife were enveloped in the dark blue aura. Both of them got to work at cutting off the piece of the stack of the pancakes. Okay, and then, with a fork floated in peace towards her mouth. Celestia hummed in response, then let the room fall into a comfortable silence as both of them simply continued eating. The silence didn't take long as Luna spoke. Sister, I've been wondering, what are screeches and pats? The fork in Celestia's magic seemed to falter before resuming to trajectory towards the pancake. When did you hear that? A tone of amusement was enveloped evident in her voice. I heard some ponies talking about it earlier. Luna voided the question. From the corner of her eye, she could see that two royal guards shifted uncomfortably. Luna then glanced at the two guards. Both of them stood at attention. She motioned for the both of them to leave the room. Both of them quickly left the two alicorns to converse in peace. I assume you've heard that Anna was involved? Celestia's tone was unnaturally serious. Yes, I've heard he was giving them to you. What I'd like to know is what these screeches and pets are. Luna's eyebrow raised a bit. And what's with the secrecy? I hope it's not something nefarious. Celestia shook her head. It's nothing of a sort. She took a bite of her pancake as she tried to come up with what to say. Scritches and paths are something that Anon has the ability to do well. Think of it as a massage, but focus on one's head instead of their whole body. A small smile tugged at her lips as she spoke. And the secrecy of it, and the secrecy for it? Luna was quite intrigued. This was just a massage to one's head. Then it comes it was supposed to be some kind of secret. Celestia chuckled and offered Luna a cheepish smile. Well, that is quite a question. She cleared her throat. You could compare his scratches and pats to a valuable resource. His... She cleared her throat again. Services are just too good for the public to know about it. But we had some pony leaking Crown secret to the public. Luna's couldn't possibly raise her eyebrow any further. It was particularly in the air at this point. I highly doubt that his surveys are that good. Oh, you must experience for himself. And his confident smirk spread. Okay, a confident smirk slowly spread on Celestia's lips. I think I might. Okay. Just before night fell, Luna had decided to meet up with Anon in the royal garden. Her duties would only start in 2 hours since she had been awoken up a little early from what she's used to. Exiting the castle, she could already spot Anon, who stood slightly taller than her. Evening, princess. He adjusted the cuff of his black formal suit. Luna could see a strand of white hair that struck about his presentation. I see you haven't had the time to wash your clothes yet. Luna noted. Anon quickly looked down at his suit and picked the white strand of hair off his clothes. Yeah, well, did you know your sister sheds fur everywhere? I keep thinking that I could get it all off in one wash, but I always find a few strands here and there. He dusts his shoulder a bit, noticing a few strands of white hair floating off his suit. Yes, I did. The maids keep finding white hair in the weirdest places possible. She giggled. Shall we depart then? A small smile remained on her face. Where to, princess? Did you have a place in mind where you want to relax? Follow me. Luna turned around and started leading him deeper into the royal garden. They walked for a few minutes on the well-traveled path until Luna turned around and led them to more secluded part of the garden. Here, she simply stated as they walked past increasingly tall, higher bushes. To say that the sight was good would be an understatement. He could see miles upon miles of beautiful landscape of Equestria in the distance. They were quite literally standing on the very edge of Canterlot. The only thing separating Anon from the very tall was a thick and tall golden railing that ensures nobody would accidentally jump off the garden. Wow, I can see the Crystal Mountain from here. True to his words, in the distance lay the multiple mountains that blocked the Crystal Empire from view, and the ever-blowing blizzard that surrounded the royal city. This is one of my favorite spots to visit when I simply want some alone time. Luna sat down next to Anon. I see why. Anon crouches next to her. Then he rubbed his hands together. Are you ready? I'll raise the moon, then we can begin. Her horn was surrounded in blue dark aura, soon the sun came down and the moon rose high into the sky. Anon whistled as he watched. I'll never get used to that. Are you going to stare at the moon all night, or are we going to begin? Luna smirked. As Anon tore his attention away from the amazing view, he could see that Luna seemed to radiant confident. It also helped that the moonlight perfectly hit her figures as if someone was taking a professional picture with excellent lighting. Anon responded with slight patting on the blue princess' head, and then he moved to a soft scritches behind her ear. Her ears folded from the sensation of having the base of them being scratched. And Luna hummed, a smile spread on her lips. This is quite pleasant, but I'm afraid it's not good what Tia promised. I'm not done yet. His right arm slowly moved to her chin, where he gave some small, soft scratches to the underside of her jaw. This had more intense reaction from the mare as she humped again and leaned towards into the sensation. He put more effort in scratching under the underline of her jaw. His left hand then fell from its position behind her ear and went pat and scratch and scritch at the back of her neck. This is quite nice, she whispered. Anon could barely hear her, but he smiled nonetheless. He then brought both of his hands underneath her chin, slightly pushed at her cheeks with his thumb. Anon couldn't help but smile at the slightly confused look she was giving him, which melted back to a smile as he went back to scritch at the base of her jaw. He then slowly moved to the side of her neck. The fuck? Anyways. As he did, Luna gasped and felt a shiver down her spine. Anon smirked as his hands began to give increased attention to her neck. It seems I found your weak spot. He then continued to pat, scratch, and rub the side of her neck. He could see her tail swinging from side to side as she continued. This went on for a good 10 minutes or so. Eventually, time has passed as he had to stop, awakening the lunar goddess from her happy place. I think it's time to stop. Anon stifled a yawn behind his head. I'm exhausted. Luna's eyes tracked his hands for a few seconds before clearing her throat. Yes, I still have a job to do. She stood up and a cheeky smile appeared on her face. But we could continue this at a later date. It seems that Tia was right all along. At this rate, I should be hired to pamper the royalty. Anon joked. Then you're hired, Luna stated without missing a beat. Huh? Was all he could formulate for a response. That was a great, book. Kind of wholesome, really. Kind of wholesome, not gonna lie. Okay, bye!